Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially 5 days away from WrestleMania 41. We're going to be getting Rhea versus Bianca versus Io for the world title. Jey versus Gunther, Roman, Rollins, and Punk in a triple threat. We're going to be getting Cody Rhodes, Stardust versus John Cena. What a card, what a match, what a mania. This mania sucks. The build has been atrocious. The card is garbage. We already know that, and the builds have been bad for 98% of these matches. However, we still have to predict what's going to happen, even though, quite frankly, no one should care about 98% of the stuff that's actually announced to be on this Mania and to be on this card. That is why I've been calling this Mania a disaster from start to finish of this build. However, I'm not going to give you the usual, I think this person's going to win, that person's going to win. I'm going to let you know what should happen versus what I actually think will happen, okay? So you're going to get two different perspectives inside of that, but we're going to be going through this match by match. We're going to be able to blow through and breeze through most of these matches because all this stuff is predictable garbage with nothing on the line that's not going to be memorable at all after Mania is done. So with that being said, let's take a sip of the libation here. I got it in a water bottle. Oh, wow, I respect you, I love you, I appreciate you, and I can't stop thinking about Punk. But with that being said, let's get into the the predictions for WrestleMania 41. All right, so to start this off, we're going to go in order basically from night 1 to night 2, okay? So let's just go ahead and get through these matches and let's talk about this stuff. First off, we have Jey Uso versus Gunther, okay, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, I believe that what should happen is that Jey Uso should win this match, and who I think is going to win this match is actually going to be Jey Uso, obviously, okay? They've gone too far with this character. They've had all this yeeting and this constant, hit my music, yeet. Like, it's too much. Giving this guy the Royal Rumble win over Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Rollins, even LA Knight, right? Or even a shock factor move for massive heat for Logan Paul or something. Them giving Jey Uso the keys to the kingdom and having him win the Royal Rumble shows you the faith and the trust that Triple H has in this guy, and also the fact that Jey had gotten so over to the point where it was just undeniable he had to give it to Jey. And so they did that, and now they have him going for the World Heavyweight Championship, which isn't even the A title, the WWE title. So obviously Jey is going to win this World Championship. It's a shame that Gunther's title reign is going to come to an end. Even though it's been very bad, I feel like, it could have been a lot better. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, even though Gunther is mediocre on the mic and in the ring, he doesn't really wrestle. And when he does, the matches are usually pretty, average, besides a couple that end up being great. But during this reign, he's had no real great matches, in my personal opinion. The best match he's had in the last, 7, 8 months since he's had the belt was the match to get the belt from Damian at SummerSlam. So you have that situation. It just isn't going to work. Gunther's going to lose this match, and it is what it is. The fact is that Gunther's reign sucked, and it's going to come to an unfortunate end to a mid-card jobber open the show, Jey Uso. You know what I'm saying? Open the event, Jey Uso. So Jey Uso's getting that world title. Next, we have Jade Cargill versus Naomi, okay? Obviously, Jade Cargill should win this match, and she should win clean, and I think Jade will win this match, and she will win clean. I think that we actually are going to see Jade's developments in the ring even more. Every single time she has a singles match or any type of match, I feel like she is getting better progressively over time when she is featured on the show and actually competing, and I feel like this should be the same thing here. The build for this match has been decent. I think Naomi's heel character is actually pretty solid, easily probably the best thing going on in the women's division right now from a story perspective, and so obviously I think this is going to be the most interesting women's match on the card. In ring-wise, I don't know if it'll be the best, but it should be decent, but Jade should win this match because she has to. You can't have her sit out for 4 months, then come back, and then lose at Mania. It's not worth it. So Jade is going to win this match, and after this, I predict her to actually get a massive push after Mania, and eventually, I think she will be having a SummerSlam feud with the future Women's World Champion, which we'll discuss later in this video. But yes, Jade versus Naomi, this should be a clear-cut. Jade Cargill should be your winner for this match. Next, we have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States title. Again, I don't care about this match at all. Let's just be honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? No one cares about this match, right? I'm sick of these matches being so predictable. No one cares about them at all. However, we have to deal with it, okay? LA Knight's fighting Jacob Fatu, and LA Knight is obviously going to lose this match unless there's interference, but it looks like Solo is going to be fighting Randy Orton anyway, so I don't think Solo is going to get involved in this match or anyone's going to get involved. Jacob Fatu is going to win this match probably clean, and that's just how it is. There's no way this dude's beating Braun Strowman clean, then beating him and destroying him at Saturday Night Main Event, and then destroying him in the last man standing match they had a few weeks ago on SmackDown. It's set up for Jacob Fatu to be this big beast, and the Samoan werewolf gimmick and everything. He's going to be a dominant force, and he's going to win this championship. Again, it's a shame that LA Knight's championship reign is coming to an end, because the first championship reign he had with the US belt was great. Wrestling every other week, good promos, super over, everything like that. Then he loses it to Shinsuke, and Shinsuke doesn't even do anything for 3.5 months, then loses in his first title defense to LA Knight, and then LA Knight gets it back to have a 1-month title reign and then lose it to Jacob Fatu. It's pretty trash. The booking has been atrocious of both mid-card belts, and we'll talk about that with Braun Breaker's situation. However, Jacob Fatu is obviously going to win this match, and this will probably set up a feud with him and Solo for the US title at some point later this year, but that's that. Fatu's going to win this match. I just feel bad for LA Knight. He is a US level, a world championship level talent, and he should be in the position that Jey Uso is in many aspects, at least in terms of what I believe, and the fact that he's doing this is just crazy to me. But anyways, then we're going to get New Day versus War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships. Obviously, the New Day are going to win this match. I think they should win this match, and they are going to win this match, in my opinion, okay? Now, obviously, because this match was forced onto the Mania card, it makes you think maybe Big E might show up, That's why this is on the card, but I really do think this was just thrown on the card to fill out the match slots, because, again, as of like a week or a week and a half ago, we only had 8 confirmed matches for a Mania PLE 2 weeks in advance. So because of that, we are now in a situation where they had to throw the New Day on like last week, so that's just what it is at this point. We have to accept it. New Day are likely just going to win this tag team championship clean, and I wish there was a stipulation on this, like a war match, or something like that to fit the gimmick, but the War Raiders are just so boring and so uninteresting. Please just give the belt to the New Day and just move on with this stuff. The tag team division is already dying and just garbage. Just give it to the New Day so they can at least have the belts. And they can capitalize on this heel turn that happened and was amazing in the moment, and maybe now finally they'll actually let the New Day cook. The New Day should have won these tag belts 3 or 4 months ago after they turned heel originally, but I guess we have to wait till Mania for it to happen, and even if they have Big E come out there, I still think the New Day should win anyways, even if Big E somehow does interfere. I really don't care. New Day needs to walk away with the belts. It's necessary and it must happen. And speaking of this tag match, it's really ridiculous to me how the SmackDown tag team division with the Profits finally winning their tag belts after 4 or 5 years of not having any belts. All these tag teams, thrown together garbage matches and bad feuds and all this stuff. At least they tried to elevate the tag division just for none of them to even be on the WrestleMania card. Just think about that bad booking, but we're getting New Day versus War Raiders. Wow. Anyways, next we're getting El Grande Americano, which is obviously Chad Gable versus Rey Mysterio. It's good to see Chad Gable getting on the PLE. I think that's cool. But what's his name? What's El Grande Americano? Chad Gable, whatever you want to call him, he's going to lose this match. It just is what it is. Rey Mysterio probably is going to win this match. I wouldn't be surprised if Grande won, but again, nobody cares about this match. This has no significance. I think Rey Mysterio will win. The LWO and American Made will get involved. We might see some really cool spots from Joaquin Wilde and Torres and with Julius Creed and Brutus Creed. I think we'll get some cool stuff with that. There will be interferences, but ultimately I think El Grande Americano will be unmasked and revealed to be obviously Chad Gable, and Rey Mysterio will pick up the dub at Mania 41. Next, we have Tiffany versus Charlotte Flair. The build for this has obviously been atrocious, but I will say this match is slightly unpredictable because every single time Charlotte Flair returns from injury, she usually wins a world championship. So because of that, it really does make you think that Charlotte is probably going to win this match. And what I think should happen is that I believe Tiffany Stratton should lose this belt. However, I also think that whoever wins this championship, it's not about who wins this match, it's really about the aftermath of it. And if they're going to be safe, I think the safest option is for Tiffany Stratton to win this match. So I believe that Tiffany's going to win this match, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if Charlotte wins this match. But Tiffany needs to win this because no woman's reigns in the world title scene or even in the mid-card scene now with the US and the IC belt have been good in this Triple H era. Just think about it. Rhea Ripley's first world title reign for 400 days was atrocious. There was no memorable feuds, no good matches, none of that stuff. And then you saw her second world title reign was wasted and was only 2 months. It had nothing going for it at all. Then you also had Liv Morgan's championship reign, which was more about Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley's eventual return and her storyline than it was about the actual belt and Liv having a good reign for herself. And so because of this, and Nia Jax's reign sucked, so did Bayley's, we know this stuff. The fact is, we need to have a great women's championship reign, and the only way we can have a possibility of doing that is if Tiffany Stratton can at least continue to hold the belt, and this will give her some prestige because she'll be elevated by beating Charlotte like Rhea was at Mania 39. And I think after this, Tiffany can maybe continue to grow on the mic, and this will actually build a genuine up-and-coming superstar in Tiffany Stratton. Right now, I think Tiffany's grin on the gills and is really bad on the mic, really bad at storytelling, and she's kind of just solid in ring. She botches a lot, but at the end of the day, you cannot have Charlotte come back after the reaction she's getting and win the belt. But at the same time, if you want that heat, you want a trusted heel, a veteran who knows what they're doing, Charlotte should win. So I can see this going either way. That's what I like that dynamic about this match, but the build sucks. But I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton retaining that championship, and I am slightly worried for botches and injuries because I don't know if I trust Charlotte's knee heading into this match, and I also don't know if I trust, Tiffany Stratton's moonsaults and flips with all the botches she's been doing on SmackDown, so we'll see about this one. Then we have the main event of night one, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. This is a nobody cares match. It is a Paul Heyman on a pole match. We have three all-time greats in WWE's lore and their history, and well, I mean, I don't know about all three all-time greats. I mean, Roman is an all-time great, and Punk kind of is too. Rollins will probably go down as that, so yeah, all-time greats, I'd say, in my opinion, and these people are fighting for the favor, right, a stupid favor in the help of like a 55 or a 60-year-old man in Paul Heyman. That is what this feud has come to. With these three greats in the ring and these three greats in a story, and the best thing you can do is a Paul Heyman on a pole match for nothing. And we're getting told it's the most important triple threat match ever. No, it's not. Nobody cares about this match. If it was so important, there would be something on the line. There's nothing on the line. So move on from that narrative anyways. But, along with the build for this and there not being any legitimate story, hence why Cody and Cena had a genuine cutthroat promo, but this feud never had that between the three competitors actually talking about why they don't like each other and why they're going at each other. It's more about what can Paul Heyman do for them, or what's Paul Heyman doing, or the favor, or the wise man, or my best friend. It's so stupid, man. This feud is a real disappointment, but quite frankly, this match should be mildly entertaining at the worst, okay? But quite frankly, you're not going to feel anything. This is a match that's built off of story and emotion because there's no belts on the line. So this has to make you feel emotions. It has to make you feel excited and hype, and I don't have any of those feelings heading into this, and therefore I do not care who wins this match. What should happen is Roman Reigns should win this match and walk out without Paul Heyman and leave him there, Punk there, and Rollins there, all distraught, looking up at the tribal chief raising his ones to the sky. Because Roman Reigns just had the belt for 4 years. I know he got pinned by Solo at Crown Jewel, which is just embarrassing, but it was a part of the Force storyline. They wanted to make Solo look good and make him look like a threat, which was obviously a waste and a bad look for Roman, but Roman needs to win this match. It's not acceptable to have Roman getting pinned in back-to-back Manias. It just isn't. He's above that. He is the best guy you have in your company. I don't care that he's a part-timer. It's just the truth. He's the best and the biggest star you have, and he needs to, well, he doesn't need to win this match, quite frankly, but he should win this match pretty realistically, and he should stack both of them and pin them while looking at Paul Heyman, and then raise his ones up at the end. That would be a sick ending, and it would make Roman feel like a prominent guy, and then you could build Roman up to have a Cena versus Roman feud for SummerSlam or something like that, and that would be absolutely epic. However, what's actually going to happen likely is that Seth Rollins is going to win this match. Just dictating off of the booking, I think Seth Rollins is going to win this match. That's what I predict to happen, because they're going to do the classic thing where CM Punk and Roman will be at each other's throats the whole match about Paul Heyman and all the other nonsense, and because of all of that, it's going to make way for Seth to swoop in and get the W and win the match, and that is going to be that. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're already seeing signs of this. I would genuinely be shocked if I wouldn't be shocked if Punk won, but I'd be shocked if they actually let Roman walk away without Paul Heyman and walk away with a W here. So I think they're going to build for Roman and Punk at SummerSlam, and that's why Rollins will get the W here. It's about time Rollins actually wins something at Mania, something in, a main event level match, well, because in reality, he hasn't done anything. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't done anything at these Manias. Now, last year, he was the unspoken MVP and an unspoken hero of that Mania, and I love what he did last year at WrestleMania. But in other years, Seth Rollins is really just there to fill out the card. If you need him in the mid card or the undercard, he'll feud with Logan Paul Raw, or he'll feud with Cody or whoever the heck. It doesn't matter. But that's just what he does. Hopefully this time he gets a main event level match and actually gets the W. It'll be good for him. But again, nothing matters here. If Roman wins, nothing changes. If Punk wins, nothing changes. And if Rollins wins, nothing changes. And I don't care who Heyman walks out with. I honestly think Heyman is going to disband and not join any of them. And if he does join someone, it'll probably be Punk, but I don't think he's going to join any of them. I think he's just going to be distraught and walk out alone as well. So that's what I'll say for that. Then we get to night 2. We got the women's tag match with Liv and Raquel. No one cares. No one cares about this match. Let's just skip through this. Liv and Raquel, I think, are going to retain, but again, who cares if Bayley and Lyra win? The fact that the women's U.S. champion and the women's IC belt champion in the first year of them being a thing now in this new modern era, right? Obviously, Chyna's technically the first women's intercontinental champion, if you really think it. She's first ever champion, you know what I'm saying? The intercontinental champion in the women's division. But anyways, that's not the point. The fact that the women's U.S. belt and the women's IC belt are not featured in singles matches on this card lets you know about the booking importance of them and lets you know about the importance of them in a general, within this company. So this just is what it is. I don't care about this match. Liv and Raquel retain. Nobody cares. This was thrown together for nothing to give Liv Morgan a consolation prize for her having a great year last year. So we're like, hey, we'll throw you on the card. We'll give you a meaningless tag match. How about them apples? And that's what she got. So there you have it. And then we get a Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight. No one cares about this match. But one thing I will say is that I can't stop thinking about Punk. You know what I'm saying? But however, this match actually doesn't. This match doesn't matter. Let's be real here. No one cares about this match. No one cares who wins this match. And quite frankly, this is pointless. This is again another consolation prize. Priest was a world champion last year. Drew McIntyre was technically a world champion last year for 5 minutes. And he had a great year last year. And so obviously they put them both on the card in this mid-card nothing fest of a match. I don't care about this. Cool, it's a street fight. Maybe there'll be some cool table spots and physicality, but outside of that, there's no reason for this match to exist. But Drew McIntyre will win this match because he should win. You can't have him get pinned by Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso in the span of 2 months and then get pinned by Damian Priest as well. If you get pinned by those 3 jobbers in the span of 3 months, it's over for you. And it's as simple as that. So Drew McIntyre needs to win so they can elevate him and build him as a top tier heel on SmackDown. And maybe he'll eventually challenge, I don't know, Cena or Jey Uso for the belt or something later this year. But that's just what needs to happen. Drew needs this win for his career. He needs it for his current character arc. And he just needs this in general. Damian Priest should not be pinning this dude in back-to-back Manias. It's not going to happen. Drew's going to win this match. Then we get the Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match. This build sucks. It's trash. Nobody cares about it. Let's be real here. Dominic Mysterio has 1 televised singles match victory in the last 7 or 8 months. And you mean to tell me that this dude now gets an Intercontinental title shot? Penta gets an Intercontinental title shot for beating Ludwig and Pete Dunne. But Sheamus was beating the crap out of Pete Dunne and Ludwig Kaiser last year and got a couple IC title shots, 1-0, and now he's not even on the Mania card. It's a disaster. The fact that we couldn't even get a Sheamus versus Randy Orton match at least, some good match just to put on the show, put two upper card level guys, just put them in a match and have a banger after banger after banger. You know what I'm saying? Just have it at Mania. The fact that he couldn't get on the card is embarrassing. But Penta and Finn Balor with 2 singles victories in 9 months is getting on the card. It's sad. But Dominic Mysterio is going to win this match, and he's going to probably pin Balor to do it. What should be happening in this match is that Braun Breaker should just straight up retain the belt. You know what I'm saying? Someone like Sheamus or that caliber should be taking the belt, not Dominic Mysterio, who has basically 0 promo ability and is only there because he has heat. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? The heat is just manufactured part of his character now. So I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't think this match is really entertaining or interesting to me at all. The match itself should, be entertaining. But again, like the rest of these matches on the card, besides maybe 3 or 4 of them, nothing here looks entertaining to me, and I don't care about this. Nobody cares, man. So what? If Dominic wins the IC belt, so what? He holds it for 4 months and loses it to someone else? I mean, this stuff is over. It doesn't work. This Fatal 4-Way feud sucks, and nobody cares about it, and I don't care who wins this match. Braun Breaker should retain this belt and proceed to actually have a fighting championship reign with the IC belt, and a good reign like he's capable of with his talents, but instead he'll get nothing. Just like Carmelo Hayes has done all the great things he's done over the last year on SmackDown, and he gets nothing, not even on the card. So there you have it. Same with the Street Profits, not even on the card either. But anyways, then we get AJ Styles Styles versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul, I think, should win this match, and I think he is going to win this match because Logan Paul needs to be elevated by beating one of the legends who's kind of like the old timer. You don't belong in this business. You're an outsider, and for Logan to beat him, I think would be great for the character of Logan Paul. I think the Pulverizer looks amazing too. That's going to get probably a good reaction at Mania. I think that move is epic. This match is literally just on the card to be a fun banger match. If they had like less matches like this on the card and more meaningful story-driven matches into obviously the world title stuff as well, then maybe this would actually work as a great card. But this match is the tempo for everything else on this card. But the problem is the meaningless, non-title matches at this PLE do not feel engaging at all. Even this feud does not feel engaging, but at least it's going to be fun in ring. It's going to be good in ring, and so you're hyped to see it. Plus Logan Paul brings in extra eyeballs, so you have that as well. But quite frankly, it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. The reason this match is happening, I don't really know the reason. It's another surface level feud of, oh, well, I don't want you in the business. You're an outsider, so we're going to fight it out. Logan Paul should win this match, and it's pretty much a de facto at this point. And Logan Paul hopefully will get pushed later this year. And it'll be pretty cool, honestly, if he was the one to take the world title from Jey Uso. But we'll talk about that after WrestleMania if he wins this match. But yes, Logan Paul should win this match, and I think he's going to beat AJ Styles in what will be likely a probably 10 to 15 minute banger match. Then we have a thrown together triple threat with some of the worst storytelling and build I've ever seen for a world title match. Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. Bianca Belair should win this match, and she will win this match in my opinion. That's what I'm predicting to happen. Bianca should win this match. I think she's going to, okay? The reason why, and I will give this match this. This is probably the most unpredictable match on the entire card, or at least, one of the top two, along with, Tiffany and Charlotte, or maybe Cena and Cody, whatever. But this match should be Bianca winning. She won fair and square at the Chamber, and I think that, her undefeated streak at WrestleMania, there's no reason to waste it on this kind of story in this type of match. This is embarrassing, okay? Bianca needs to win this match, get it over with so she can move on from this and get a world championship. She hasn't been a world champion since 2023, so it's been about 2 years, so it won't be something that people are getting tired of unless the reign sucks, obviously. It's been a couple years, so she'll finally be back in that scene, and I think it's what's best for business here. I mean, quite frankly, Rhea Ripley has had 2 world championship reigns. I doubt they're going to give her a 3rd world championship reign in the span of 2 years, especially when one of her reigns was 400 days. It's not plausible, man. We have to stop doing this, and I think they're going to stop doing this, okay? We have to move on. We can't put up with this nonsense with Rhea in the main event scene right now for anymore. She stinks at cutting promos. She stinks at telling stories, and it's not working out. And because of that, she should not even be an option to win this match. And with Io Sky, she should retain this championship in theory, because Io Sky, realistically speaking, she has been the workhorse of the women's division last year, just like Bianca was in the ring, wrestling matches consistently and good week in, week out. Her and Bianca had the match of the year arguably last year on that episode of Raw in late 2024, So Io doing all that work should, lend itself to her actually getting a meaningful, great championship reign. But the problem is, Io should have won at the first Saturday Night Main Event versus Liv Morgan for the World Championship. And then she should have now been losing it at this Mania in this triple threat type match, or in a one-on-one versus Bianca, or a one-on-one versus whoever. That's what should have happened. But they didn't pull the trigger and gave Io the belt like a month and a half before Mania. So we all know this was going to be a transitional championship reign, and that's what it's sadly going to be, even though she deserves much better and she's been doing a great job. Bianca Belair is going to win this championship, and it's as simple as that. She should win it, right? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but that's what I think will happen. I think Bianca's going to win this belt and stay undefeated at WrestleMania, and eventually down the line, she'll finally lose the undefeated streak, and that'll help elevate whoever the next generation's women's wrestling star is going to be at that time. So there you have that. And then the main event is John Cena versus Stardust, a.k.a. Dr. Libations, you know what I'm saying? A.k.a. Cody Rhodes, okay? John Cena needs to win this match. The industry, the professional wrestling industry, I respect you, I love you, I need you. The industry needs this. John Cena is obviously the biggest star in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? One of the biggest stars of all time, just in general, right? But this is wrestling specific. He needs to do this. This is his last year in WWE. You want to see John Cena with the WWE Championship at some point this year. It's better to knock it out, in April of this year, so he has 8 months left left. He's got at least, 20 plus more dates that he's going to be on the shows and stuff like that and on PLEs. It has to happen. Cena needs to win this match. He needs to win this belt so we can get a summer of Cena in his final year and give us some great stories, some great never seen before feuds, some stuff with him and Drew maybe, even some, even a situation as well with him and Orton at Backlash in St. Louis, Missouri. That could be really fun, him and Punk, running it back again. I know these aren't never before seen stories, but you get what I'm saying. Like, very fun and very engaging, in this current climate of WWE where they need a jolt. The viewership is down. The profits are down. The viewership, the revenues are down, right? They're struggling to sell out tickets for this WrestleMania. And the fact is, this needs to happen. John Cena needs to win this championship to save this industry. It's as simple as that. John Cena will bring more hype. He will bring more intrigue. He will bring more positivity to the product, more eyeballs to the product. And on top of that, John Cena will be able to tell much better stories than what Cody Rhodes has given us for the last year, because Cody's championship reign, as much as times as I said it, it's just a fact. His reign was awful. Every single metric and number went down when he was champion, and quite frankly, the storytelling, the quality, he only wrestled, 7 or 8 title defenses as a full-time competitor in over a year of having the belt. It's not acceptable, and it needs to end. He's not talented enough to be the guy in the industry, and that's why he's not the guy, and that's why he's going to get beat by the guy, which is John Cena. Cody's time is up, and John Cena's time is now. He should win. He has to win. The shenanigans will be at play in this match, I believe. I do think we will see Stone Cold, because he's in Vegas for the weekend, obviously, so we know he's going to be there. I do think The Rock will finally show up. It's a shame that John Cena didn't do more to help build this feud. Same with Cody Rhodes, because even though Cody was showing up, it's hard to really build a feud when the other person you're feuding with isn't there. So John Cena could have done Instagram promos like The Rock did, in his actual first 2 weeks of promos before he finally cut loose and had an amazing promo in his third week on Raw or whatever. He should have actually been cutting deep and doing more in those weeks as well, more creativity stuff with him and Cody. Triple H should have booked it better, and Cena could have done more, and Cody could have slightly done more as well, but he did the most with what he could, I suppose. But the fact is that John Cena, he's going to win this match. The Rock will get involved, but The Rock as well could have been someone who showed up more during this build as well. You can't tease this whole, you're my champion, you sold your soul out. Well, where is the help going to come from? So that's why The Rock has to show up at Mania, because there has to be some follow through on, hey, Cena sold his soul to this guy. Why is this guy not doing anything in return? So The Rock has to help him win this championship in some way. That's the only way they can complete that story with the fact that The Rock hasn't been here at all leading up to this Mania since Elimination Chamber. So the best way to do it is just have The Rock show up and help Cena win the belt. Maybe rock bottom Stone Cold. That would be a massive moment. This main event is the only hype factor thing they have on the entire show. Let's just be honest about it. This is the only thing that's exciting, that actually has gravitas, and that could potentially have some big star power and some massive moments that are going to be memorized and talked about for years to come. That's just the truth about it. These other matches have potential to do that, but I don't believe they're going to, and I don't really care if they do anyways, because the matches are empty so far with the storytelling build that they've had. So that's just what it is. This is the biggest match of the show. This is one of the biggest matches WWE has had in a while. Probably the biggest match they've had since Roman Cody last year at Mania Night 2. So, it falls on suit. So that's just what it is. John Cena needs to win this match, and Cody Rhodes' championship reign should come to an end. Finally, you know what I'm saying? Finally, The Rock has come back. But Cody's title reign needs to end, and it's just as simple as that. John Cena should close the show standing side by side with The Rock, winning his 17th WWE Championship in that crowd in front of Las Vegas, and it will be an absolutely amazing moment. And hopefully they make the right choice and have John Cena win this match. He should win in a dirty, heel-esque kind of way, with The Rock getting involved and things of that nature. But that's what's going to happen. Cena should win this belt, and it has to happen. You can't throw away one of the biggest heel turns ever for Cody to just retain a couple months later. It's just not acceptable. So Cena should retain, and I think he will retain, and that will close out WrestleMania 41. John Cena as your new and 17-time WWE champion. Cody's time is up, and John Cena's time is now. And the time is now to end this video, because, man, this Mania 41 card is atrocious. You get what I'm saying? But we'll just see how it's all executed. The storylines, the build, the promos, everything, all the feuds have been pretty much bad for like 99% of these matches. But at the end of the day, we're 5 days away or 4 days away, whatever it is now, and it's time to just get into the event and hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So with that being said, let me know your predictions for WrestleMania 41 in the comment sections below. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.